Features direct chat with candidates and interview scheduling. Learn more at jobtoday.com.
This is WNYC 93.9 FM and AM 820, NPR News and the New York Conversation.
Marketplace is supported by Progressive. Progressive Commercial Insurance protects small businesses with customizable coverage options as unique as your business. More at progressivecommercial.com.
One word, one guess, people. What do you got? From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Cencora, bringing the companies and capabilities of AmerisourceBergen together under one new name. Cencora empowers healthcare partners with custom strategies to elevate patient care and accelerate positive outcomes at Cencora.com. And by NetSpy. Cyber threats evolve fast. NetSpy helps companies keep up, from pen testing to proactive security. And with clarity, speed, and scale, NetSpy helps protect some of the most trusted global brands at netspy.com. And by Raymond James, a firm focused on transforming lives, businesses, and communities through tailored wealth management, banking, and capital markets solutions. Disclosures at raymondjames.com.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Ryssdal. It is Tuesday today, March the 4th. Good as always to have you along, everybody. Should you be wondering whether we are in a trade war? Yes. 25% on Canada, 25% on Mexico, another 10% on China on top of the 10% it already imposed. Retaliatory tariffs, because this is the way things go in a trade war, have already started. Canada's going to hit alcohol, clothing, and appliances. China's doing chicken, wheat, and other things agricultural. Mexico says it is going to. Exact list as yet TBD. And look, this is a dynamic policy environment, right? Changes are possible by the very hour, as we've seen since the inauguration. But spare a thought in this moment for the business owners stuck in the middle. Marketplace's Kristen Schwab made some calls.
Paul Weissman at Healthy Avocado imports more than 1 million boxes of avocados a year. And he says the industry has been a little touch and go lately, even before tariffs. Supply from Mexico has been down because of bad weather.
The prices for Super Bowl were twice what they were last year,
which impacted sales. It makes him wonder if people have already reached the price threshold for guacamole.
Will consumers pay $3 or $4 each for an avocado? I don't think so.
Mexico is the biggest supplier of avocados, so all he can do is wait to see how tariffs impact prices and wait to see if farmers adjust to compensate. Erica York at the Tax Foundation says the cost of tariffs is a big factor for businesses and consumers, but a perhaps bigger consequence for the economy is the uncertainty of trade policy.
That itself has a negative impact on business investment, on business activity. If you're a business trying to plan a long-term investment, you're going to sit on your hands.
York says even if a trade war doesn't emerge, and even if, say, Trump reversed these tariffs, they've created friction for companies across borders.
These are business relationships that have developed over years. We don't really see them snap back into place overnight.
This is the main worry for Chip McElroy at McElroy Manufacturing in Tulsa. Many of the components he uses to make construction equipment come from Canada and Mexico. That's also where most of the finished equipment he exports ends up. He thinks retaliatory tariffs might make his customers look elsewhere.
There is an influx of Chinese equipment that is substandard to what we provide, but is, let's just say Chinese priced.
While he waits to see how it all shakes out, he'll be doing some component pricing.
Job one is to gain some clarity on what actual impact these tariffs are going to have.
So he can quantify the new cost of thousands of components that go into one piece of construction equipment. I'm Kristen Schwab for Marketplace.
One of the realities of tariffs is that they hit differently depending on, among other things, where you are. Henry Epp did a story for us the other day about New England and New York perhaps having to pay more for electricity than it gets from Canada. Sure enough, today, Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, said that province is going to impose a 25% tariff on power it sends to 1.5 million homes in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York. Texas, meanwhile, has what amounts to a roughly $300 billion trade relationship with Mexico all on its own. So after 30 years of free trade, Marketplace's Elizabeth Troval takes us to the state where everything is bigger, including the effects of tariffs.
New tariffs could raise the price of what Texans eat and drink.
It's beer, it's liquor, produce, agave, sugar, coffee, chocolate.
And where they sleep.
Softwood lumber, which is like your frame lumber, gypsum board, which is your drywall. All those are largely sourced from Canada and Mexico. And these tariffs on the building materials would drive up the cost to build the homes.
That was Emily Williams-Knight with the Texas Restaurant Association and Houston area homebuilder Matthew Reibenstein. Out in West Texas, oil producers who get pipes from Canada and Mexico could feel the squeeze, says Carr Ingham with the Texas Alliance of Energy Producers.
There's a lot of steel that is deployed in the business of drilling for and producing and transporting crude oil and natural gas.
In the trucking industry, which has boomed under free trade, John Esparza with the Texas Trucking Association says he worries tariffs will increase the cost of semi-trucks and decrease demand for trucking.
That could mean less business and at a higher cost.
Many trucks operate out of Laredo, which is particularly exposed to tariffs, says Daniel Covarrubias with Texas A&M International University.
On a 30-mile radius here, cross-border, you have upwards of 1,500 logistics companies, transportation companies, customs brokers, or logistics warehouses.
These firms grew out of decades of free trade. But economist Ray Perryman says now, with tariffs,
you really rip up an entire supply chain that we've spent the last 50, 60 years building. It really begins to impact employment in a significant way. Because of the inflation, consumers have less money to spend.
He says if tariffs are sustained, all states will feel it, but especially Texas, because its economy is so integrated with Mexico's. I'm Elizabeth Troval for Marketplace.
Let's do the numbers. Dow Industrial down 670 points today, 1.5%, closed at 42,520. The NASDAQ slipped 65 points. That's about a third of 1%, 18,285. The S&P 500 subtracted 71 points, 1.2%, 57,78. Best Buy beat fourth quarter expectations, but the outlook was mixed. CEO said price increases are likely due to China and Mexico tariffs. Where have you heard that before? Best Buy down 13.33% today. Target shares dwindled 3%. After that retailer also warned tariffs could drag down profits. Target said price increases could take effect in stores as early as, get this, the next couple days. Samantha Fields was telling us about Walgreens Boots Alliance going private maybe. For now, still publicly traded, shares elevated 5.6% today. Competitors CVS Health ticked down about 1.1%. Bond prices fell as well. The yield on the 10-year T-note thus rose 4.25%. You're listening to Marketplace.
The Numbers is supported by Odoo.com, your entire business on one platform. Marketplace is supported by Viking, dedicated to bringing travelers closer to the destination. Viking offers a small ship experience with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com. And by Bank of America. From local shops to global enterprises, Bank of America is committed to helping businesses of all sizes make every move matter. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/bankingforbusiness. And by the University of Illinois' Geese College of Business, providing a fully online MBA degree that encourages learners to apply what they learn in real time without having to put their career on hold. Online mba.illinois.edu.
Disinformation, deepfakes, artificial intelligence. Are we living in the future? I mean, yeah, of course that's always been true. We are always living in the future we've made through a series of choices that have gotten us to where we are right now. So here we are, and the question is, what future do we want to live in? Is it one with independent public radio news and programs telling important stories built on facts? Is it a future that has a network of reporters around the world and a thriving local newsroom operating free from the influence of corporate shareholders and advertisers? If you want that future to happen, make the choice right now to help build it. Become a member now. Here's how.
Here's how. Call 888-376-9692. You can also go online to WNYC.org and click on Donate. I'm Sean Carlson here with Christopher Worth, senior editor in the WNYC newsroom, and we're here to deliver a fairly serious message. This is a different message than you normally get during a pledge drive, but it is that serious, it is that urgent. We do get a portion of our funding from the federal government. You know, if you look at a pie chart of how our budget works, listener support remains and will continue to be the largest source of that funding, but a not insignificant part of that pie chart is money from the federal government. It comes, it's a formula, it comes through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. But that's under threat right now. You're getting strong signals from Washington that we may not have that funding in the future, which means that that largest and most reliable source of funding in public radio will be that much more important going forward. It is within your power to turn this around, to keep us on the air. So we are asking in this moment that you stand up with us and say, I support public media in my community, and the best way of doing that is become a sustaining member here at this station. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org.
We are in the middle of Marketplace right now, and Deborah in Hillsborough, New Jersey, just donated, and she wrote to us to say, my husband and I listen to Marketplace every night on our drives home, and then we talk through every segment at dinner. Oh, that is beautiful.
I love it.
She says, we need you to keep our conversation going.
Yeah.
Now, if I've ever heard of someone who needs a public radio nerd bumper sticker, it is Deborah in Hillsborough, and put it on and wear it proudly.
Yeah, Deborah needs it.
Anyone who becomes a sustaining member will get one of these really cool public radio nerd bumper stickers. It's got the NPR logo on it. It's got the WNYC logo. What better way to project the things that you care about, which is news and information and the free press. These are the things that we value, and we depend on you in order to bring them to you. Give us a call, 888-376-9692. The number is 888-376-WNYC. Go to our website. You can pledge there, WNYC.org.
Bonjour. This is Eric Ripper, New York City chef, restaurant owner, and WNYC listener, here to give you some pairing suggestion while listening to WNYC. For morning edition, my suggestion will be black coffee, nice tartines with butter and marmalade. For all of it, I suggest a nice salad with vegetables that are seasonal, and for all things considered, I recommend a very nice soup, a piece of grilled fish with some steamed vegetables and a bit of olive oil, and I think you're good. Finally, I suggest the best pairing of all, WNYC and you. It's the great programming and the listener that make it happen. When is the right time for this most perfect pairing? How about right now? It's simple. Here's how to do it.
Here's how to do it. Call 888-376-9692. You can also go online to WNYC.org. Click on Donate. Like Christopher was just saying, if you contribute and become a sustaining member at any level, we'll send you that really cool bumper sticker. I should also note, and I fact-checked this with our pledge team, we've never had a WNYC bumper sticker before. So if you're somebody who really nerds out, as it were, on this stuff, get on it. This is one of those things that, like, you haven't had a chance to get before. All you got to do is become a sustaining member. When you do become a sustaining member, I suggest that you do it at a level of $10 a month, because if you do, we'll send you a Public Radio Nerd mug. It says it on the mug. It's, again, a great thing to add to your collection of public radio swag. Now, $10 a month is great, appreciated, but let me challenge you even further. Up that by $3 more, or if you already are a sustaining member at, say, a $10 a month level, up that by $3. Get to $13 a month, and if you do that, we'll send you not one mug, but two of these Public Radio Nerd mugs. That is how much we want your support and want you to become a sustaining member. Again, as we've been saying, the message this drive is different. Federal funding is under threat, and we are relying on you that much more to step up and be what drives public radio. 888-376-9692, or you can just go online to WNYC.org and click on Donate.
Jennifer in Manhattan writes, thank you for a broad approach to the news and introducing me to new ideas.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Jennifer, for giving. Listener support does more than keep WNYC on the air. Your support really helps to keep public radio reliable, independent, freely available, and, as Jennifer says, introducing you to new ideas. It's why your participation in this fundraiser matters more than the amount that you choose to contribute.
Yeah.
We need you to give. Give us a call, 888-376-9692. That number again is 888-376-WNYC. Or you can go to our website, WNYC.org. Thank you so much for your support. We are really counting on you.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Ryssdal. Here's your semi-regular reminder that just 1 in 5 federal employees live in or near Washington, D.C. The flip side of that coin, of course, is that 4 out of 5, 80%, don't, including most of the 2,000 Forest Service workers who've been sacked by Elon Musk and his operatives. And in a lot of places, those public lands agencies like the Forest Service are major employers. Places like McCall, Idaho, population about 3,700. The Mountain West News Bureau's Murphy Woodhouse has more.
It's a postcard snowy day in the charming lakeside town of McCall, but it's warm inside the Flying M Cafe, where Forest Service workers are preparing for a protest. One of them is Emily Kuharski. She got laid off from Idaho's Payette National Forest on Valentine's Day.
It felt pretty horrible.
Kuharski was a trail crew lead, and in a memo, she was told she had not shown that her continued employment would, quote, be in the public interest.
I mean, the main part of my job in the winter is safety. I ride out on snowmobiles, I check avalanche reports, I disseminate information to the public.
Kuharski was a probationary employee. She liked her work and did it well. In her most recent performance review, she was deemed to be, quote, fully successful. Kuharski is here for the protest, but she also brought her resume.
I want to work, I want to find a job. I'm going to pass out my resume and tell people what has happened to me and ask for help.
A union steward with the National Federation of Federal Employees said that 45 Forest Service employees on the Payette have been laid off recently. New Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins supports the administration's efforts to, quote, eliminate inefficiencies and strengthen USDA's many services to the American people, according to a statement. Last week, a federal judge found that the layoffs of probationary employees were likely illegal. The firings have spurred protests across the West. Some 50 people, including the Forest Service workers from the Flying M, are gathered at a small park near snow-covered Payette Lake. Bryce Spare takes the mic. He's a now former backcountry ranger and was also a probationary employee. He was also told that his continued employment was not in taxpayers' interest.
I take a real great offense to that.
Spare's job included patrolling trails and keeping bathrooms clean. Like many in the Forest Service, he started his career as a seasonal worker before getting a permanent position. Spare's supervisor was disturbed by his termination, and she provided Spare with a letter calling the notion that his work did not serve the public a farce. Spare says he and other laid-off colleagues represent decades of on-the-ground experience.
There's a ton of knowledge that's being lost right now.
By early afternoon, nearly 150 protesters line McCall's main drag. Chants and the honks of supportive motorists fill the air. Bethany Thomas works at a local bookstore. Her sign reads, Valley County stands with our federal workers.
You know, our neighbors, our friends, our kids' soccer coaches are federal employees. And without their income, our community doesn't have money coming into it.
County data show that the Forest Service is the area's third largest employer, ahead of a school district, the local hospital, and a major ski resort.
And I have huge concerns over what this means for our forests and our communities in the coming fire seasons.
While Forest Service fire personnel are exempt from the layoffs, many non-fire staff play key roles in preventing or responding to wildfires.
A lot of us are in support positions.
That's Brad LaPlante, the Payette Union steward. Even though he works in forest health, he is regularly deployed on fires.
It helps come July and August when fire season is really ramped up.
LaPlante still has his job, but he's worried about whether he and the other workers who remain can fulfill the Forest Service's missions, like caring for the land and keeping communities safe from fire. In McCall, Idaho, I'm Murphy Woodhouse for Marketplace.
These are salad days for soccer fans. The English Premier League is on, Europe's Champions League, MLS here in the States is going, and the NWSL starts next week, its season. And then in the summer of 2026, the center of the soccer universe comes to the United States, Canada, and Mexico for the World Cup. In the meanwhile, soccer in the U.S. is booming. Participation from 2018 to 2023 up 28%, and more players means more customers, which brings us to today's installment of our series, My Economy.
I'm Ben Shahabar. I'm the founder of a new soccer shoe brand called 11, and I'm based in Washington, D.C. I grew up in a household that was really all about soccer. I have 2 older brothers. They all played soccer. My dad was our coach. My mom is from Manchester, England, so we grew up watching Manchester United play. So I think soccer's just always been around me. And then I've always also enjoyed building physical products, and building a soccer shoe brand really was combining those 2 passions of soccer and engineering. You know, Nike, Adidas, and Puma have certainly dominated the market for a really long time, but we're seeing in other spaces like running or trail running or cycling where there are a number of indie or startup brands that are really starting to break through, and there really hasn't been a brand in soccer. And so I really think there's a big opportunity to do this for that market. One of the biggest learnings of starting the shoe company has really been about, I guess, building the physical product itself. You know, we spent the first couple months really on the digital design, but then you have to take that design, however detailed it is, and you have to actually make it in real life. And that translation step has really been the hardest, the most tedious, also fulfilling part of it. Our first sample that we got, I got the first pictures of it on Thanksgiving Day, and it was awful. Before we got our first sample, we had provided to the factory very detailed, they're called tech packs, but it's essentially a blueprint of this is what the shoe should look like. And when we got the first samples back, you know, the shape of the shoe was wrong. A lot of those construction details were wrong. And I remember being like, can I actually do this? Am I actually going to be able to make the shoe that I would want to wear? And what we really had to do is first we pushed back and said, hey, here are all the things that you need to do. And when it was clear that they didn't want to put in that effort, we ended up switching factories, and we've made a ton of progress since, and it's all worked out. 2025 is upon us. Our goal is to be launched this summer, so probably July or August, and then really get as many players as possible exposed to our product through a lot of in-person demos at tournaments and other events in the lead up to the World Cup, which I think is going to be huge in 2026 for our brand.
Ben Shahabar, founder of the soccer startup 11. Manchester United shares, by the way, it is publicly traded, ticker symbol MANU, ManU, off 17% the past 6 months, which is, coincidentally perhaps or not, when the Premier League season started. Might have something to do with Manchester United sitting 14th in a 20-team league.
Marketplace is supported by Leesa. Leesa believes that a better night's sleep should be available to everyone. Since 2015, Leesa has donated over 41,000 mattresses to shelters and those in need. Learn more at leesa.com. And by Pure Storage. In a world of fragmented systems, Pure Storage delivers a single, consistent, as-a-service platform for all data storage needs across on-premises, cloud, and hosted environments. More at purestorage.com.
This final note on the way out today: should you be in need of 1,779,349 square feet of office space in the nation's capital, Elon Musk and his operatives have just what you're looking for. The J. Edgar Hoover Building, the, I guess, soon-to-be former headquarters of the FBI, is on the General Services Administration's disposal list. Here I quote the GSA: "We are identifying buildings and facilities that are not core to government operations." Our digital and on-demand team includes Carrie Barber, Jordan Manji, Dylan Miettinen, Jenna Wynn, Olga Oxman, Ellen Rolfes, Virginia K. Smith, and Tony Wagner. Francesca Levy is the Executive Director of Digital and On Demand. I'm Kai Ryssdal. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.
In this country, more than 2 local